And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven, Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13. And the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, and Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakadash. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And I want to get into this morning. All right, with this morning news and prophecy. All right, a new class of slaves. Okay, and this is what these devils, all right, to roll out. They're going to present it, as a utopia. They're going to present it as peace and safety. They're going to present it as prosperity. They're going to present it as transcendent. But ultimately, it's a new, system of slavery. Okay, because right now, people exist as debt slaves. The reason why people have to work so many hours, the reason why people have to work multiple jobs, both, the man and woman, has to work in most households. Okay, is because of debt. When people speak about, when people speak about their the reason why they can't retire, the reason why they can't save money is because it's a system of debt, which keeps you obligated, to working, for the corporation. You see, and when you get paid, most of your money goes to other corporations. You see, so it's a modern system of slavery known as debt slaves, where he wants to take this slavery a step further, okay, and create, a digital slave, which gives him more control, but he's going to sell it, okay, as peace and safety. That's why he has to bring the chaos and the desperation for he can present it as an option, okay, and he's been conditioning the people's minds, getting people used to, this technology, okay, getting people used to all this convenience, okay, which gives him the leverage, and people's addiction to convenience, okay, is going to make a lot of people bend the knee, in these times. Matter of fact, let's go here, get some precepts and a couple of videos I want to go into. Well, let's go here, all right, because ultimately the devil wants to bring a one world order, okay, and what we're seeing now is we know with the economy, the CBDC, which would be the global currency, okay, and now you have the Pope, okay, Pope Leo, all right, they're getting together with these other religious leaders, okay, to bring unity against the world with the world religion, which we know they want to unite the religions to Satanism, because the Vatican is nothing but Satanism. Okay, when you go into the word Vatican in the Latin, Vatis, it goes into divine and serpent. Okay, and so much so that they pretty much scrubbed the internet of that definition. Used to be able to find that definition easily when you go into looking up Vatican, but now you can't find it. They pretty much scrubbed that definition of Vatican going back to divine and serpent. I was looking at it before, I was trying to look at it for the screen. Couldn't get it. Even when you go into just what the Latin word Vatis mean, they was trying to water that down, man. but Elder Yashawamba, he went into it a few times, all right, and brought it out how that goes into the divine and serpent, okay, that old serpent, you see, which is the religious sect of this beast system, okay, because Islam came out of Roman Catholicism, okay, which it all goes back to Satanism, you see. So what we're seeing now is as you go back to the time of Antiochus or Antiochus, okay, which Epiphanes, all right, this damn demon, which you read about in Daniel the 8th chapter, this nigga got a chapter dedicated to him because he's so goddamn wicked. Okay, but these are Edomites, these are Greeks. Okay, and what has Esau revived in the world? Okay, the Greco-Roman Empire, and now he wants to take the Greco-Roman Empire and make it digital, man. Okay, so you had this demon, all right, this Greek Edomite, okay, because original Greeks were Japhet, all right, but Esau, as he always does, okay, he stole it. Okay, he stole, the ethnic group of Rome. He stole that. Okay, and he came over with what, the Greco-Roman Empire, man. Okay, which was known for lewdness. Okay, witchcraft. Okay, sorcery, and military might. You see, so when you go into the book of First Maccabees 1:41, said, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. And this is what this devil is getting ready to announce, man. In the midst of this war, in the midst of this chaos that he's going to cause, all right, especially throughout these Western, okay, empires, man, these Western governments, okay, the chaos and the turmoil and the desperation, all right, the violence, the famine, all these things that's coming, which is going to create extreme desperation, okay, he's going to present a solution of a one world order. The C-hip is going to be, the peace, the prosperity, all right, the transcending, merging man with machine to transcend man beyond and above. Okay, his original nature. You see? So this is what the devil was getting ready to roll out. It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Okay, and all these heathens are in agreement, okay, with a new world order, one world order. Okay. Now what we're seeing is, infighting amongst these nations, man, but they're all in agreement of this one world order, and they're all agreement with technocracy, man. Okay, digital infrastructure, because all these nations, these major nations have, okay, this digital infrastructure in play. Okay, from Japan to Brazil, these African nations. Okay, you have these African nations. I think there's a unified, all right, digital, okay, agreement amongst these African nations. We went into it. Let's see if we can find it. All right, unified, united, digital. Let's see. We did a video not too long ago. System. Yep, let's go here. All these nations, man. I say Moab, Ammon, Ishmael. Okay, these Gulf Arab states, all these nations, okay, are on board, okay, with this new world order. So let's go here real quick just to show it. All right, when you go to just a quick Google search. Okay, and we'll look up a few of them. So I said United Digital System in Africa. It said Africa is actively pursuing a unified digital ecosystem driven by, all right, the African Union's Digital Transformation Strategy 2030. Okay, so they're on board. Okay, the whole continent, you see, which aims to create a single digital market and foster economic integration. Key initiatives including boosting digital infrastructure, all right, data centers, subsea cables, all right, implementing secure digital IDs, all right, and prompting cross-border digital payments to enhance connectivity and digital literacy across the continent, man. So this is the whole continent of Africa, man. Okay, that's on board. Okay, digital system in Asian countries. Okay, it says Asian countries. All right, Asian countries are rapidly building unified digital system to foster economic growth and improve e-government services led by initiatives like ASEAN, all right, Digital Economy Framework Agreement, and the Asia Pacific Information Superhighway. Key efforts focus on unifying digital IDs, which all this is going to be in the C here. It's going to start as digital ID in some places, but which some places already have these digital IDs are mandatory. Okay, but then it's going to transform into a C hip, a device that goes under your skin. Okay, so cross-border data flows and enhancing digital governance. All right, in infotech, AI, and healthcare. Okay, so these Asian countries. All right, then you go here. Let's see, digital system. All right, in Persian Gulf. Let me see, or in Arab digital system in Arab countries. Okay, here we go again, and it keeps using the word rapidly. It said Arab countries are rapidly adopting unified digital systems, man. Okay, everybody's on board. You see, same like during the time of Antiochus. Okay, the Greek Edomites. Well, they're back. Esau's back on the same thing, except now what is digital. It said Arab countries are rapidly adopting unified digital systems to create or to accelerate economic growth, with the GCC leading in AI and digital integration. All right, the UAE's 2030. You see that all of them are down. All these nations are down with it, man. UAE's 2030 strategy, Saudi Arabia's digital transformation. The UNDP is supporting this with initiatives like AI4SD platform, all right, aiming to boost regional digital cooperation and bridge the 30% digital, all right, digital divide across the region. Okay, and then you can go here. There's Asia, Africa, all right, Arabs. You see, Ishmael. Okay, that's a united digital system, all right, in Europe. Okay, just go to Europe. All right. It says the European Union is implementing a unified digital border system fully operational by April 10, 2026 to replace manual passport stamping for UE national. Its records, all right, it records biometric data at 29 European countries, borders to improve security and efficiency. Okay, and that's why another reason they, calls these refugees for the push for digital ID. Even what we're seeing now, all right, with Trump, the latest assassination, where you have Trump saying, "Well, look, we need to trade liberty for safety." Okay, and ultimately you're trading, the little liberty you got left for slavery, man. And like we said, once they do these certain, psyops and false events, pay attention to what they push after, because that's the real play. Okay, that's the real play. What they push after, man. Okay, so let's go from there. All right, because I want to get this real quick. So you had this meeting. Let's go here. Okay, so you had this meeting between the Pope, okay, and all these different religious world leaders.
the peace event at the Colosseum, the Pope concluded. Following the peace event at the Colosseum, the Pope concluded a meeting with leaders of other religions. They all came to the Vatican to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the document Nostra Aetate. This text marked a shift in the Catholic Church's attitude towards other religions. Rome stopped focusing on their differences, unites them. For example, the transcendent meaning of life in an increasingly secularized world. In fact, Pope Leo XIV emphasized that this is the role of religions today.
At this crucial moment in history, we are entrusted with a great mission to reawaken in all men and women their sense of humanity and of the sacred.
The Pope also reminded everyone that religions are for peace, not for fanaticism, because for all those who believe in God, the rest of men and women are not strangers, but brothers and sisters.
Nostra Aetate teaches that we cannot truly call on God, the Father of all, if we refuse to treat in a brotherly or sisterly way any man or woman created in the image of God.
The document Nostra Aetate was one of the shortest of the Second Vatican Council, but at the same time, one of the most revolutionary. The initial idea was to reflect on the relationship in Judaism and much further pressing the worship of all other religions.
Pope Leo brought a message of peace and Christian-Muslim coexistence to Lebanon and the greater Middle East.
On his first day in Lebanon on Monday, Leo did a pilgrimage of the Maronite Catholics, the largest Eastern Catholic community in the Middle East. In his speech, he once again called for peace in Lebanon and in the world, but also called for love to win over hate.
Yeah, and even you see right there, that's an so these nations agree, some more than others. They have their disagreements. Iran has their problems with the West, okay, and giving over their resources to the bankers, okay. So you have their strife, okay. But when it comes to certain points of this new world order, like I say, some nations agree more than others, but all of them agree, all right, and moving forward with a new world order, with a new world religion, new world currency, okay. Now you have some, how the governments are going to work, what status and what that, but they all agree, okay. So that's that's an Iranian Ayatollah, because you have the Ayatollah, all right, which is Mashtaba, okay, the son of Khomeini, the one that was killed, the supreme leader. But you have a council of Ayatollahs. It's several of them, okay. But you see, Iran sent a representative, okay, in this this global religious meeting, man. Okay, so all these nations, okay, play a part in this rollout, man. And the Lord is going to use their differences. He's going to continue to escalate their differences, okay, into a war that goes beyond their intended agenda. See, this war is going to go beyond Esau's intended agenda of a global reset, all right, for a technocracy. It's going to go to a global reset for Yahweh Shai, the throne of David, okay. So let's play this a little more.
A message of peace. He's expected to repeat an interreligious meeting with the leaders of some of the many religious denominations in this country, and especially a message of hope.
Dear brothers and sisters, I am deeply moved and immensely grateful to stand among you today in this blessed land, a land exalted by the prophets of the Old Testament, who beheld in its towering cedars emblems of the righteous soul that flourishes beneath heaven's vigilant gaze, a land where the echo of the Logos has never fallen silent, but continues to call forth from century to century those who desire to open their hearts to the living God. In his post-synodal apostolic exhortation, Ecclesia in Medio Oriente, signed here in Beirut in 2012, Pope Benedict XVI emphasized that the Church's universal nature and vocation require that she engage in dialogue with the members of other religions. In the Middle East, this dialogue is based on the spiritual and historical bonds uniting Christians to Jews and Muslims. It is a dialogue which is not primarily dictated by pragmatic political or social considerations, but by
Yeah, man, and it's all this all is Satanism. Okay, this is all this is, man. Okay, what they call the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, okay, Judaism and Islam, which Abraham, all right, then he wasn't a progenitor of none of that, because Ishmael, would you get to Islam, okay, Abraham didn't teach, okay, Ishmael no goddamn Islam, okay, he didn't teach Judaism, he didn't teach Christianity, okay, these are all right, man-made religions, okay, used to control the minds of the masses, and it's bringing everybody to Satanism. That's why Islam is infused with all type of Satanism, just as well as Christianity. Christianity is the biggest. All right, well, if you want to go get a taste, a buffet of all paganism, go to Christianity. Okay, Christianity is saturated with, all right, with paganism, and then you go to Judaism. Judaism, okay, it's infused with all type of mysticism. All right, that's why they have the Talmud. Okay, there's nothing but Babylonian, all right, literature, man. None of these things have nothing to do. None of these religions have nothing to do with the truth of the Bible. Okay, but this is nothing but unifying the world under Satanism. Okay, and even when you go, let's get this word real quick. All right, and this is nothing but going back to the Tower of Babel. We'll get that, but when you go into the meaning of the word Catholic, all right, when you go into the meaning of the word Catholic, say Catholic derived from the Greek. Okay, so it's a Greek word. And that you go into the scriptures, it's Hebrew. Okay, you see, that's our tongue is Hebrew. All right, Judaism, that's Yiddish. Okay, that's not the original Hebrew. Okay, it's mainly a derivative of German, a German language, man. Okay, Ishmael, Arabic, all right, which that's it derives from the Hebrew, but it's not the original Hebrew. Okay, that's why we're Hebrew Israelites, man. Okay, the chosen people. So when you go into the word Catholicos, meaning universal or whole, okay, so this whole word Catholic means universal, and the Lord not dealing with everybody, man. Okay, the Lord not dealing with everybody. You see, so when you go into the Bible, this mindset of universal, well, this is not what the Bible teaches, man. John 3:16, we know that world goes into the cosmos, a harmonious arrangement, which the Lord had a harmonious arrangement between Israel, man, the people of Israel. That's it. Okay, so let's get some precepts, and then we'll go to another video. All right, just debunk that madness, man. You see, when you go to the scriptures never talked about everybody coming together, okay, with all these different religions and mixing all these different religions. There's confusion. That's how you know this is Babel. Okay, this is nothing but the Tower of Babel all over again. Matter of fact, let's get there first in Genesis, and then we'll go and confound that madness, man, the universal madness. Okay, this is Genesis 11:1. It says, "And the whole earth was a one language, all right, and a one speech." And this is what the devil wants to bring back. Okay, he wants to attempt. This is a technological Tower of Babel. Okay, this is a technological decree, all right, of Antiochus. Okay, of a one world order, of a one world government, man. Okay, it says, "And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found the plain of the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go and let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they made brick for stone and slime had they for mortar. Yeah, so they came together to build what infrastructure. Okay, and that's why you see all this digital infrastructure going up. Okay, for this technocracy, man, this digital Tower of Babel. Okay, so they can have a integrated system of money. Okay, the integrated system of control, and the integrated system of religion, man, which is gonna be Satanism, man. Okay, and that's what's coming to the forefront. That shows another reason why they're showing you Epstein, and they're showing you what they're about. They're getting you familiar with what they're about, what the New World Order is going to be like, man. Okay, they want the earth to be Epstein Island. They want your local neighborhood to be Epstein. Okay, this is what these devils are rolling out, man. It's a slavery of, it's a digital slavery of horror. Okay, but they're gonna paint it as salvation. You know, that's why get ready for the chaos, man. All right, get ready for more events. Get ready for cyber attacks. All right, power outages. Okay, mercenaries to be turned loose, man. Hey, the devil, he has to come out with all stops, man. Okay, and it said, verse 4 says, and they said, go and let us build a city and tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Okay, so in their mind, you know, back then they thought they was going to defy the Most High. They thought they was going to rebel. You know, they was going to build infrastructure that removes them from the Lord's judgment. Okay, because they know the flood. What did it do? It destroyed a wicked generation. So they're like, look, let's build a tower. Let's build an infrastructure to where we can escape the flood. Let's build a tower that's higher. All right, that's high enough to, okay, with this great rebellion, man. And what we seeing now with this technocracy, this is nothing but rebellion. Okay, the devil trying to tap into immortality. Here it is. He is the wicked. Okay, and the scriptures go into, all right, the punishment for sin is death. But they saying, well, look, we're going to create a society where we can sin and live. Okay, this is a major rebellion that we see going on, man. Okay, it's bigger than just, you know, you see, going to Taco Bell with the chip. Okay, get some cinnamon twists with the chip. It's way bigger than that, man. Okay, this is a major rebellion that this man is trying to pull off. All right, in the earth real time. It says, and the Lord came down to see the city and tower, all right, which the children of men builded. Okay, and the Lord said, behold, this people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do, man. And Esau wants a society where he's free, you know, to be as wicked as he wants, to try anything. Okay, this nigga will spend the next 100 years trying to get men pregnant. Okay, if this nigga was able to establish this and just keep going, you know, he would take PDF file to another level. He would just do this, and you know, he would just do things on a whole nother level. Okay, he wouldn't be, you know, he wants to be unrestrained. Okay, to do wickedness, man. You see, but the Lord's getting ready to intervene, man. Okay, it says go to, let us go down, and it says let us go down in there, confound their language, that they may not understand, all right, one another's speech. Okay, so the Lord wouldn't what? Confound it. Okay, their speech. All right, and how the Lord was going to confound the speech of Esau at this time is going to be with judgment, man. It's going to be with fire. Okay, he says, so the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off, all right, to build a city. They left off to build a city. Okay, so what we're getting ready to see is Yahweh Shema Shai, okay, getting ready to intervene just as he did during the time of Babel, except this time he's going to be way more destructive. He just confounded their language. Now he's finna, all right, take America off the map, turn America to a desert. The earth is going to rail to and fro from this nuclear war. And Yahweh Shah coming with the chariots to add more fire. Okay. So we're seeing the same thing getting ready to play out on a much larger scale. The Lord's going to show much more power, because this is his last time that he's going to have to judge the earth in this manner, man. Okay. Let me cue this up as well. Let me cue this video up. I see you brothers. And this devil just got so much, going on at the same time. Oh, here we go. Let's cue this up. All right. We'll get a couple of you brothers' precepts. All right, let's get this brother servants of Yahweh Shah. It says, but Israel shall be saved, Isaiah 45:17, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. You shall not be ashamed nor confounded world, okay, without end. Okay, and that word world, goes into what's that word? I think it's alama, okay, which goes into an age, a perpetual age. Okay, because the world will come, the kingdom will come is going to be a perpetual age of Israel. Okay, we're going to be the superior nation, not going to be this, equality amongst the nations. No, the Lord created Israel to be superior, and it's for the sake of righteousness. And see, we had to learn righteousness in this captivity, appreciate righteousness before the Lord gave us the keys to the kingdom, man. We had to understand the value of righteousness we see now. And righteousness can't compromise with wickedness, man. We see this now. Okay, we're learning every day. We're learning more and more why righteousness cannot, compromise with wickedness, man. So before he gives his sons the kings of the keys of the kingdom, we had to come to this. We have to be instilled with that understanding, which the Lord is doing with us now. All right, Job 14:5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And this from the brother GMS Paul Rakah. All right, so this devil has bounds and limitations on what he can do. And this devil, he's starting to hit these limitations, man. And that plays into, he knows he got a short time because he's realizing he has limitations, man. He has limitations for his resources. So he knows that he has limitations, man, and that plays a part into the devil really getting ready to wild out, man, to fast track this thing. Okay, and you got this guy here, okay, which this guy Cart, okay, this demon here, man, okay, but he's going into how they need fear. In order to bring peace and safety, they need to bring fear amongst the masses, man. Okay, so these devils are geared up, okay, to come down with great wrath, knowing that you have but a short time. Okay, brother can get that, in Revelation 12 and 12, and let's get that in 2nd Esdras, what is it, like 72 on down, 72 to like 75. Whoever began that, he should be like a madman sparing none. Okay, because this man is weary, he's frantic, he's frustrated. Okay, and you can tell, guys like this with Alex Karp. All right, these are just some bloodthirsty, all right, PDF file Satanists, man. Okay, with control over technology. You see, in weaponry, man. Okay, and the Lord's going to allow this man, he's going to allow Esau to get off, especially here in America, on the civilians of America, man. Esau finna get off, man. Okay, so let's play this.
I know a lot of people love Elon Musk, the welfare queen technocrat, but I want to remind you that Elon Musk thought that what Alex Karp from Palantir says here is based. Listen to this.
Americans are the most loving, God-fearing, fair, least discriminatory people on the planet. And they want to know that if you're waking up and thinking about harming American citizens, or if American citizens are taken hostage and kept in dungeons, or if you're a foreign power sending fentanyl to poison our people, something really bad is going to happen to you and your friends and your cousins and your bank account and your mistress and whoever was involved. And, you know, when Americans are spending $1 trillion on defense, what I want and what I think my peers want is, why are these people keeping our citizens hostage, torturing our people, attacking our allies, maligning us in what was once called the United Nations, basically a discriminatory institution against anything good? We need to.
So it sounds like he's speaking like a caring shepherd for the flock. He doesn't want Americans to be threatened by foreign powers. And if anybody threatens these Americans, well, Palantir is here to step in and protect you and make those enemies regret that they were ever your enemies. We will go after them, including go after their families, their bank accounts, even their very lives if they mess with Americans. And this is what...
And he's talking about other Americans, man. Okay, because the American military does not defend the American people. Okay, they go out on assignments based on the elite bankers. Okay, the American the American military, okay, is not set up to defend American people. Okay, the American military is set up to go on assignments for the elites. And see, you Americans are going to be the assignment. Okay, and that's why they have ICE, okay, using what? Palantir. Okay, you have ICE, all right, you have what? The IDF, the Israeli, okay, what you call it? The Israeli Defense Force, okay, they was intertwined with ICE. Okay, why was they doing it? Well, they're bringing those tactics that they were using in Gaza, okay, in Palestine, where they're bringing those same tactics to America, man. Okay, you had a software called Daddy's Home, you know, where they can track, you know, different people. They knew exactly when they was coming home based on, you know, Palantir software. Okay, and then they would just bomb, you know, the whole building, you know, when this certain person came home. Okay, and they want to bring that to America, man. You see? So you Americans have no idea, you know, that your American government is all out war. And with this AI, you know, this is going to give them, you know, ability. Now the AI is limited, okay? But when it comes to, you know, destruction, all right, because that's the Lord sharpening Esau's sword. This AI sharpen his sword to do damage. Okay? I say it's not super productive terrorizing citizens. Okay? Give this nigga a superpower, man. You see? So let's play this some more.
Elon Musk is saying is based. Now, if it was true, it would be based. But do you really trust Alex Karp? Do you trust Elon Musk? Do you trust Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel? Do you trust these guys to keep you safe? Aren't they instituting technocratic tyranny on street corners and police cars and body cams and flock security cameras all over the United States? How is keeping us under constant surveillance going to serve us? I mean, really, how will this happen? Because what they're looking to do is monetize every step, every eye twitch, every movement. They will study your gait. They will scan and surveil you in your car with their networks. But it's all for your safety, right? I mean, do you believe or buy any of this?
Stand up, and those people need to be scared. And that's why this conference is so important, because we have the best products in the world, and we cannot have parity. our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. If it's even, they will take advantage of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska.
Our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. He's taking the moral high ground as he makes the sales pitch for why Palantir should be on every street corner, in every boardroom, in every vehicle, in every bedroom, even. Hey, we
And what they're going to do to justify this, they're going to do more staged events. Okay, they're going to do more false flags, and he's going to have to do something big. You know, their little White House shooting, you know, hey, they're just beginning of many. I believe that's going to be the beginning of many. He's going to have to do something major, man, to justify, okay, we need digital ID. All right, we need more Palantir Incorporated. Palantir has already took over the food. Okay, and already taken over the food, the USDA. Okay, so now this nigga, it's up to this nigga to determine if your meat is safe or not. Okay, this nigga got the last say so. You see? So yeah, man, these devils, they're just consolidating all this power, and through Palantir, you know, which we'll go into that meeting in a minute. Let's play a couple of more minutes of it, man. I'll put this on the chat too.
can't keep you safe if we can't keep an eye on you.
Of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska. Our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. If it's even, they will take advantage of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska or New Hampshire or wherever we live in our peaceful environments. And they need to wake up scared and go to bed scared. And if you give that to the American people will go back and say, and honestly, probably shouldn't say this is why I thought the Democrats were going to lose the election, why they did, because people want to live in peace. They want to go home. They do not want to hear your woke pagan ideology. They want to know they're safe. And safe means that the other person is scared. That's how you make someone safe. And the average American person understands this. Unfortunately, many of the intellectually captured institutions.
The way you make people safe is making somebody else scared. Now, if everything was.
And then he said, American people understand this, but the intellectually captured. So when he speaks about the intellectually captured, man, he's speaking to anyone that doesn't believe in what they believe. Anyone that's not down with the beast, anyone that's not ready to bend the knee to Baal, man. When they're getting ready to usher in, they call you the intellectual captured. Okay? So you already know they have these databases and targets of what they want to target when they start doing these major events, when they start doing lights out. Okay, when they send forth mercenaries and they really turn loose these ICE agents, man. Okay. They already have a section of society that they want to target and get rid of. Okay. They're slated, okay, to be destroyed, man. You see? So let's go here. Let's move to the next one. I'm gonna get those precepts too. I'm gonna go ahead and queue up the next one on a more domestic level. All right, just showing you the type of slavery that this devil wants to bring, man. Okay, let's go here. Here's some of the precepts you brothers got. All right, so let's see. Then brother. Yep, this the brother. All right, Amar. All right, Cabal, 2nd Esdras 16-71. It said they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Okay, and we know that AI doesn't have any emotion. Esau don't give a damn, but you know the AI for sure don't give a damn. Okay, so you combine it with this crazy nigga, you can combine AI, all right, with this madman, okay, and his weaponry, man. Okay, and he's gonna unleash some things. He's gonna open up, man. You know, he has some things, like I say, that we haven't seen. All right, and it's gonna go crazy on the masses, man. People are gonna be defenseless, man. Okay, well, you talking about, you know, waging war against the citizens, man, it's gonna get brutal. Okay, and we have to understand, especially Amalek, you know, they get off on destroying, you know, civilians, especially women and children. Okay, they get off on that. Okay, and they look at a depopulation and sacrifice to Satan. Okay, so the least is finna turn America into a satanic altar, man. Okay, it said, "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses." Okay, okay, and it says, "Then shall they be known, all right, who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire." Yeah, because in the midst of that, it's gonna be a standard lifted as well. Okay, it's gonna be a standard lifted because they're gonna target. That's why I said they're spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, because you know this Palantir has certain people targeted. They got all these lessons. Okay, they got all the comments. Okay, so you know they have a digital footprint. Okay, of Israelites, man. Even those, you know, even just Israelites in general. Okay, but for sure, you know, all right, they have a priority target list. Okay, of those that believe, those that, you know, are here, because you gotta think about it, we hear daily. You know, we hear every day, man. Okay, so you know, Palantir got the database, you know, and they gotta prioritize to. Okay, they can know like, okay, these niggas serious. You know, this nigga done went back to Jesus. You know, they know. You see? So it says spoiling those that fear the Lord, man. It's gonna be targeted, you know. But guess what? The Lord said, then shall it be known who am I chosen. And brothers can get that too. Isaiah 59 and 19, Baba Shah. Okay. We're gonna be tried. All right, but the Lord gonna work a work, and the Lord get ready to show power. Okay, the Lord has accounted for everything that the devil, all right, getting ready to do. Okay, so we're not just sitting ducks. Okay, and compared to the power of the Lord, the AI is nothing. See, niggas got to worry about AI. 2/3, they got AI is going to be like a guide to them. Okay, but as we come under the shadow of the Almighty, okay, the dwelling, the secret place of the Most High. No, man, the AI has nothing on the Most High, man, and the power that He's finna get ready to show. Okay, even the things that we haven't seen that this devil got. Well, this devil ain't seen what the Lord got. Okay, and the Lord and what the Lord got is far superior, man. Okay, it's in Revelation 12:12 said, "Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is coming down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time." Okay, so we're in the spirit of rejoicing, man. You know, because our mind is in the heavens, man. You know, what the Lord is getting ready to bring from heaven to the earth, man. You see? So our spirit is not, you know, we're not even of this world, man. You know, we're not of this age, man. We're looking forward to a new age to come. Our expectation is in the heavens, man. You know, and we rejoice because the Lord finna show power, man. You know, the Lord finna show power, man. And then you jump also verse 74 here, 2nd Ezra 16:74 said, "Here, O ye my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same." You know, and that's comfort because we understand the times we're coming into, we go into these things, but then the Lord gives us a comfort. I will deliver you from the same. You see, we're not just going to be left to the devices of Esau, man. 2/3 are going to be left to the devil's devices, man. You know, but the Lord's going to deliver us, man. You see, he's going to show power. As Esau increases his power, the Lord going to increase his power, man. Okay, and we know our power reigns, man. Our power is going to triumph. You see, verse 75. All right, this is Brother Mark Ball, 2nd Ezra 16:75. Be you not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide. All right. Yo, read it again. It says 2nd Ezra 16:75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt. You know, so we have nothing to doubt. Okay. Like I say, we know this devil finna come with it, but the Most High finna come with it. Yahweh Shai finna come with it, man. Okay. And Esau not no match, man. Okay. And Esau, he ain't, you know, he's hype. And with the power we got. Okay. If you just a straight nigga, a nigga woman that's walking around, like I say, man, Esau's finna, okay, flip your world upside down, man. You see? But for the elect, man, okay, hey, this devil finna be dwarfed. Whatever he come with, gonna be dwarfed, man. Okay, verse 76, it says, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, said the Lord, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves, man. You know, so we're gonna be guided through these times, you know, and this is why now, okay, the Lord is about obedience. You know, now we're in the time of obedience, man. Okay. The Lord, you know, he has an expectation of us being obedient. Obedience and faith gonna pay off, man. You know, that's what's gonna get this standard lifted. Obedience and faith, man. So let's go here. It says Isaiah 59:19. It says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So we know he's gonna come in like a flood, man. You know, and we know that we're major targets. Okay, we're major targets on this devil's priority list, man. Okay, but that's good. The Lord wants us to be targets. Okay, what's that? Jeremiah 15 and is it Jeremiah 15, 20, 21? Okay, this is on the brother Azariah, GMS in the Truth Orlando. Sirach 20 and 32 said, necessary patience in seeking the Lord is better than he that leadeth his life without a guide. Yeah, see, we're gonna have a guide. And see, right now, you know, we're patiently seeking our power. Every day we wake up to seek our power, man, to learn more of our power, you know, to get more understanding and righteousness, man, you know, to live this thing, man. We're seeking our power and patience, man, you know. And there's going to come a point when, hey, the Lord is going to protect us and shield us. You know, since ye kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, man. You know, so the Lord is getting ready to do a mighty work in the earth, man. You know, because we go into what the devil is doing, but the Lord, all right, is getting ready to move as well. So let's go into here, because this is just more of how they're rolling out, you know, this system, man. You know, the way shopping, and, you know, that's why I say this new system, man, is going to be very, very oppressive. Okay. And they're rolling these things out now. They're rolling out the infrastructure now. You see? So let's play this.
A camera mounted on a grocery store shelf is watching you. It's analyzing your gender, possibly your race. It's cross-referencing that data with your purchase history, your browsing data, and information bought from data brokers about your income and shopping habits. And AI is calculating in real time the maximum price you personally will tolerate for the gallon of milk you just picked up. It updates the electronic price tag to display that number. You walk to the register, the price might change by the time you check out. The person next to you picking up the same milk sees a different price because the AI determined they would pay more. This is not a pitch for a Black Mirror episode. It's called the Kroger's Edge System Enhanced Display for Grocery Environment, which sounds less like a grocery store feature and more like a feature Microsoft would announce at a developer conference and then quietly discontinue 18 months later. It's currently deployed in over 500 Kroger stores. Walmart is rolling out similar systems to 2,300 stores by 2026. Whole Foods and Amazon Fresh have them too. Maryland just became the first state in the US to ban it. I'm Elle. I have a PhD in computer science, and I analyze AI developments to understand what's actually happening beneath the hype. The technical term for this is dynamic pricing, but the more accurate term is surveillance pricing, which is when you know the marketing department lost the internal branding battle. Here's how the system works. Electronic shelf labels, small digital screens replacing paper price tags, let retailers change prices in less than seconds. The market for these devices was $1.85 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $7.54 billion by 2033. That is a $7.5 billion industry built around making it easier to change the price of bread. Kroger introduced the system back in 2018. By 2024, the company partnered with a retail analytics firm called Intelligence Node, which is generally what they're called, Intelligence Node, like they're sat around a conference table and somebody said, what if we named ourselves like an AI villain in a near future dystopia? And everyone just agreed that was the right move. Intelligence Node uses AI to provide dynamic pricing. Kroger also partnered up with Microsoft to develop the Edge Shelf system. Microsoft embedded cameras into the displays that use facial recognition to determine your age and gender. Kroger insists the cameras are only for personalized advertisements, not pricing, which is kind of reassuring. They're only watching your face to sell you things, not to charge you more. Totally different things, right? Kroger also partnered with a company called Cooler Screens, which replaces the transparent refrigerator doors with digital screens embedded with cameras. So now you can't see what's in the fridge. There's just a screen showing you ads for the yogurt you're trying to locate, while a camera watches you squint at a display trying to figure out if they still have the Greek kind. The whole setup drew comparisons to Minority Report, a 2002 sci-fi film where Tom Cruise gets served ads because he's been implanted with another man's eyes. That's the cultural reference points we've arrived at. A Phillips K. Dick story about surveillance and identity theft is now the grocery shop experience in 2026. Back in August 2024, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bob Casey sent Kroger's CEO a letter with some questions. The key line was this: Edge will allow Kroger to use customer data to build personalized profiles of each customer, and then use those profiles to determine how much price hiking each of us can tolerate, quickly updating and displaying the customer's maximum willingness to pay on the digital price tag. Your maximum willingness to pay, not the cost of production, not the market rate, your personal pain threshold for milk, calculated by an algorithm in real time. The senators warned that, I'm quoting, the price of basic household goods could surge based on the time of day, the weather, or other transitory events. The weather. Milk could cost more because it's raining, which makes sense if you think about it. People need milk when it rains, of course, supply and demand, right? Except the supply hasn't changed, the demand hasn't changed, just the sky did a thing, so now the price is different. Totally makes sense. Representative Rashiba Tlaib raised different concerns entirely. Studies have shown that facial recognition technology is flawed and can lead to discrimination in predominantly Black and Brown communities. Facial recognition algorithms have higher error rates for darker skin tones. This is true. So the system could misidentify Black customers, build incorrect profiles, and charge them higher prices, not because of any malice, just because the AI is bad at faces nobody checked.
Nigga, please. Okay. You see that the technology or the AI doesn't read brown and black faces good. Okay, so-called black faces. And they're gonna charge you more. Okay. And this is just the digital slavery. And see, Jake think they gonna have some type of fair shake with AI. Nah, man. AI gonna be worse because it's gonna be programmed by the wicked. Okay, the AI just gonna play out Esau's wicked programming, man. Okay, but this is the infrastructure that they're setting up because remember, this central digital, the CBDC, central bank digital currency, is gonna be programmable money. It's gonna be money with rules. Okay, so if they got this, this type of technology, they can change prices, or they got these certain doors because it's gonna take. You're gonna have a C-hip to open the certain doors at the grocery store. Okay. And if you don't reach your limit on milk, well, when you go to open the door for milk, it ain't gonna open, man. All right. It's gonna be a camera. All right. And show your ass, look, nigga, you reached the limit. All right. Back your black ass up from the milk. Okay. This is the type of control that this devil wants, man. This is this nigga's fantasy, man. He's a big ass child with technology, man. This is childish, man. Okay, you have AI calculating your willingness to pay. This is tyranny on a whole nother level, man. Okay, you got AI calculating how much you can play, and somehow it doesn't do good at recognizing brown and black faces, man. Come on, man. Okay, so nah, man. Hey, you gotta have the mindset, man. We would rather go to the spirit world than participate in this BS, man. You know, we have to really develop that mindset that we would rather go to the spiritual realm because we understand death now. Okay, and we understand that in Yahushua, there's no such thing as death, man. Matter of fact, let's get there, man. Okay, but now, man, this is just a glimpse of the type of tyranny that this man wants to establish. Okay, in the earth, man. You know, constant surveillance. You know, you have, like I say, the technology to where, the money is gonna be programmable. It's gonna have rules in it. Okay, so your money is gonna have rules in it. Okay, and then you're gonna have Palantir. They plan on surveilling everyone. All right, with militant, robots and drones. Okay, and they're let me see. And their mercenaries gonna have AI machine guns and to terrorize civilians forever, man. Okay. So nah, man, what the devil is getting ready to bring is complete digital slavery, man. Okay. So let's go here. Because ain't no death in Yahushua, man. We live, and we'd rather die in Yahushua, okay, than to participate. That's what you plugging yourself into, man. Okay. You plug yourself into this man's system, you're plugging yourself, okay, into a slavery the earth has never seen, and it's gonna be short-lived, man, because the Lord is gonna intervene. Nigga might go to the grocery store twice, man. The missiles on the way. Okay. Lord will, man. All right. John 11:25, it says, Yahushua said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet he shall live. Okay. So even if we die in Yahushua, man, Yahushua is going to raise us up immortal, man. And we really have to have the mindset, man, to take the death and to participate in this, man, because a lot of people, okay, are going to become desperate and they're going to bend the knee to this, man. But we should have the mindset like, nah, we'd rather go to the spiritual realm, man. Hell no. Okay. But I'll leave it there, Lord will, the point was made, so I put a few of the videos up on the comment, so brothers want to tap in, all right, and then subscribe to a couple of them channels, But Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edify once again. I'm gonna give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem, Rakapadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards y'all. Salutations to the whole Shalom.